Hi, how's your dog doing? Linus tries to study for his classes after being in bed all day, not moving, not seeing the sun, and eating junk food. On top of that, he completely ruins his sleep by going to bed late. Very late. Linus fails his exams. Marcus Aurelius, on the other hand, begins his work after being up, journaling, being outside, exercising, and eating nutritious food to fuel his mind and body after his difficult but rewarding and productive work. So, based on the type of content I make on my channel, you can tell that I have an emphasis on learning. I really like it. I think it's very important for everyone to do. And I've kind of always had that focus on learning throughout my entire life. However, I would only focus on what I could learn and not really how I could learn it and how I could improve to learn it. So once I actually started to look into how I could do that, which we're going to be covering in this video for your health, I got a lot better, improving my health, improved my learning a ton. And that's what allows me to be able to make these videos and actually be able to learn stuff and also to think about things and connect them so I can make these types of videos and, spread a message kind of and give you information that can help you with your life. So one thing I want you to do right now is to do 1 to 5 push-ups. And I don't care if you do them on your knees. I don't care if you do them perfectly or not. Just do 1 to 5 push-ups. And it might seem a little weird, but first off, it's related to the topic of this video. And second, it shows that you are committed to what I'm saying and you are actually going to listen and take my advice. So the first point that we actually need to touch on is that most people don't truly care about their health. Yes, today, saying that we care about health and that is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, sounds very nice. It's something that a lot of people would say, but a lot of people don't actually hold themselves to that standard. 3/4 of all Americans, because I'm an American, are dehydrated. That's not something extra like buying the newest products or whatever to keep yourself healthy or something like that, or supplements or buying healthy food. That's just drinking enough water. So if we're not even drinking enough water, what else are we missing in our health? There are plenty of people who still eat tons of junk food multiple times a week. Plenty of people still don't exercise. Plenty of people don't even go outside, which is important for your health. So we are missing a lot in our health, which shows that we don't really care about it as much as we'd like to say we do. The next point that we're going to need to talk about is that many people don't even know what a truly healthy life looks like. For a lot of people, eating nutritiously and having a good diet consists solely of eating salads. And that's what their conception of a healthy diet looks like. For plenty of people, exercise solely consists of running, and that is their conception of exercise. Many people see it as this 0 to 1 thinking, as if on one hand, you eat junk food every single day, you never exercise, and you sleep in incredibly late, or on the other hand, you sleep for 12 hours each night, and you exercise for 6 hours a day, and you only eat bland, boring, healthy foods. It's not like that. We can still improve it without having it be 100%. Just improving it will be good enough. Getting to a 70 is good enough. No more of this binary thinking. It's 0 to 100. And we can always work gradually to add on to things instead of trying to go from a terrible health to going to absolutely perfect health in like one day. That's not going to work. And there are also plenty of ways that we can incorporate healthy things into our life without having to be on these extremes. You can eat junk food when you're going out with your friends, or you can have ice cream when you're going with your family or something like that. In moderation, that is okay. Having it as a little treat to supplement something with that connects to your social life, that's fine. But Eating pizza every other day when you're at home, not even with your friends, that's not okay. Now, I'm sure that many people will say, but my learning is fine. Why would I need to improve my health to improve my learning? We should be aiming to improve as many aspects in our lives as much as we can, or as much as is reasonable for us. Improving your health for learning is incredibly important. It makes you a lot more efficient. You might be able to spend half of the amount of time learning and learning just as much or even more. Just think about if you could improve your health and you're reading a book and you get through it like 2 times faster just because you're able to comprehend the concepts much more easily and you're able to have that focus to read it that much more easily. So you just get absorbed in it and it's really quick and you absorb all these concepts. And that goes on to help you later down the line. That is why we should be aiming to improve our health for our learning. So before we get into the specific things you can do, I just want you to sit and think about what your healthy life would look like. Imagine yourself exercising consistently, eating a clean diet, and having near perfect, if not perfect, mental health, allowing you to enjoy the world and its many possibilities. Okay, so now we are finally on to the specific things you can, work on to improve your health. The first thing you should aim to improve is your mental health, because obviously learning is primarily about your mind. And if your mind isn't focused or you're constantly having negative thoughts, you're not going to be able to learn effectively. 2 things that you can do to improve your mental health, and again, I recommend doing these things even if you think you already have pretty good mental health, are journaling and meditation. I meant to actually say meditation first, so it's going to seem weird that I'm covering out of order, but meditation first. So I already have an entire video on meditation, so if you want to go a little bit more in depth, you can watch that. Maybe I should have like a more comprehensive video on it that's a little longer than like 5 minutes, whatever, however long that video was. But what meditation does is that it does not get rid of your thoughts. Meditation allows you to sense and notice and perceive when you have all these thoughts in your mind that aren't relevant. And getting to this point is going to take a little bit more than meditating once or twice. It's probably going to take a couple of weeks, maybe a month or a few months, until you really start to see a difference. But once you do see that difference, it's incredible because you can be working, you can be talking to a friend, and then you just realize, oh, I started thinking about this one embarrassing thing I did in my childhood or something like that. Huh, I don't want to think about that. So then you allow yourself to let it go, to stop thinking about it. Meditation really allows you to get into this kind of flow state, which again, I really should make a video on that, but allows you to remain focused and concentrated on the task at hand and only having thoughts relating to that task rather than having random ones that are not helpful and they just distract you. Journaling is a good way to get things out of your mind. I already talked about journaling for language learning, but that's different. Journaling in general is just good for getting things out of your mind. Thoughts, ideas, emotions, those types of things, you can get those all out of your mind so you don't even have to think about it. You won't even have the opportunity to think about these things while you're trying to work, learn, whatever else you're doing, because it'll be in the journal. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So for me, I tend to write down like aphorisms and lessons and ideas so that way I don't have to be like thinking about these types of things during the day or while I'm trying to learn other things and trying to do work. It's a lot easier to just get it out of the way, get all these thoughts out and how I can, improve certain things in my life and whatnot and develop as a person rather than having these random thoughts while I'm working and I can't even act on them because I'm doing something else. The next thing we should talk about are supplements. Now, I know a lot of them are kind of useless and kind of made to seem like you should have them, but these 2 are actually very useful. The first one I'm going to recommend is vitamin D. Since we don't go outside as, humans 10,000 years ago would have gone outside, we are all very deficient in vitamin D. So I take about 15,000 IU a day. I always recommend going higher, at least for vitamin D, going higher than like the recommended dosage because that's just enough so that you won't be ill, pretty much. So I take 15,000 IU, and it's been shown you can take up to like 100,000 IU every day for months. I wouldn't recommend that, but something like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, something like that, that's a good amount to take every day. So you'll see your health get better by taking vitamin D. The next one I can't exactly attest to myself because I haven't tried it, but I've heard it's very good, and those are fish oils, which provide you with omega-3 acids. So those are also very important. Next, we are going to cover diet. So my number one rule for diet, which is pretty simple, is try to go for like simple ingredients. So instead of looking for like a typical meal, you're going to look for like ingredients where it's just like the food. So you'll find chicken, potatoes, asparagus, something like that, where it's just like a single ingredient, there's nothing else. Of course, you can eat foods that are like mixed ingredients, but there are things you should avoid, like artificial sugars like sucralose, stuff like that. You should also avoid vegetable oils like canola oil, cottonseed oil, rapeseed oil. You should really avoid those. The only oils I think you should really be eating are like olive oil, then palm oil is okay, but preferably not too much, and then coconut oil is fine as well. So those are the ones I recommend that you like should eat and have part of your diet. The rest, at least look into it before you start to buy it and eat it. And then, of course, for your diet, make sure that you are eating enough based on your calorie goals. The best way to do that is to track and weigh your food like I do. For me, I'm trying to gain weight, trying to gain muscle, which will relate to another section of like this the tactics you can do. So I have to eat like 3,600 calories a day because I move a lot. I burn a lot of calories. So I need to eat quite a bit to actually gain some weight there. And then the next two things I'm going to talk about for diet are really helpful for your learning. The first thing is to eat fewer carbs and then more fats and more protein. This is helpful because, to put it simply, carbs just kind of fog up your brain. They're not, they kind of, that's kind of why you have that sleepy feeling after you might eat like a lot of pasta or something like that. That's just kind of how our body processes carbs. We process them in a way that makes us a lot more tired. Now, yes, we generally are less active in general after we eat, but especially is true for carbs. So that last thing I talked about, how makes us a little less active, leads into the next point, which is that you should be intermittent fasting if possible and based on your lifestyle. So intermittent fasting is when you have like a certain window where you eat, and then generally it would be ideal to eat maybe like one big meal a day, maybe two. Because when you're fasting, that is when your brain and your body is at its peak. Because if you were living like 10,000 years ago and you needed food, it would be the worst time for your body to shut off energy going to your brain and to your muscles. So they're actually working a lot harder. They are amped up, you could say, when you are fasted. So it's actually best to learn like first thing in the morning if you can, before you eat anything for the day. So if you eat one meal a day, you're in that fasted state, so it's a lot better for you, and it really just like optimizes your brain essentially. The next point that we're going to need to cover will be exercise. So exercise, there's like cardio, weightlifting, calisthenics, and stretching. Those are like the main types to talk about. So cardio would be like getting your body moving, getting your heart rate up, getting blood pumping and stuff. So like running, swimming, walking, even that type of stuff. Weightlifting is also very good if you want to build muscle or strength, that's good. And then calisthenics is a similar thing, but with your body weight. And then stretching is just good to keep everything flexible. Now, exercise is actually incredibly helpful for learning. After exercising, your brain is also, it has a higher capacity for learning. Because if you're being chased by a predator, you need to figure out a way to get rid of the threat somehow. So again, your brain is a lot better at learning and processing information because it's thinking, okay, I need to figure out something to do to stop this. So there have actually been plenty of countries where they have added extra hours to the school day so that they can allow their students time to exercise, or at least more time for exercise. And they have seen test scores go up. The last thing to talk about here is sleep. You are almost certainly not sleeping enough because of this one thing. People are more or less efficient at sleeping. Some people, I mean, yeah, you can improve it, but some people are just better at sleeping. A good sleep efficiency is around 80%. So in order to get the recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you're gonna have to be in bed for somewhere around 9 to 10 hours. Now, yes, I know there are a lot of things that get in the way and might stop you from doing that, but I'd say just aim for it. And there are people that need less than 7 hours of sleep, but you'd probably have to get specific tests for that, so you can't really just try that out by yourself. So what I'd say is just try to aim for 7 hours of sleep, so somewhere around 9 to 10 hours in bed. I'd just recommend 9 because you don't really need exactly like the 10 hours. So just go for 9 hours in bed, 9 hours for bedtime, because yeah, you don't know what your sleep efficiency is, so it's probably somewhere around 80, 60, 70, something like that. So it's just good to be in bed for 9 hours, and then also just check and see how you feel. If you feel like you need more sleep, sleep longer. If you don't think you need that much, you feel really well rested, and experiment. Just try it until you get to a point where you're sleeping enough that you feel well rested, but not too much so you're just kind of wasting your time and losing hours of the day. And of course, for all the things I've just told you, you don't have to do everything all at once. Slowly implement like 2 or 3 things that I've talked about here, then come back and look at more things you can implement, and then slowly implement those until you have a very healthy life. So if you like what I'm talking about here, you like how I'm teaching, I have coaching calls you can sign up for in the description. If you really want to learn Toki Pona, a language I talk about here a lot, you can go to the description. I will have 25 free words and phrases as a little PDF. And I should be making a Discord server soon, so I'll have that in the description hopefully as well. This is my 4th time making this video because all the other times there were technical errors, like the video quality was terrible, so hopefully this one turned out well. Well, that's all I really have to say, so tell your dog said hi.